medication on the planet. One of these, like, all these, like, super pills that come out these days. All of them have suicidal thoughts. I'm like,
Well, not thoughts, but tendencies.
But the weird thing is, like, yeah, you'll be able to get a good night's sleep, but when you wake up, you're going to want to fucking kill yourself. What, how does that help? Anyone. I'd rather be tired than want to kill myself.
Yeah, I won't take any of that stuff. Anal leakage, which is the funniest one, I think. Because I think leaking is worse than just all of it coming out at once, because you might be able to take care of it once or twice, but if it's constantly leaking, there's nothing you can do about it. You're just shitting your pants all day.
What do they mean by anal leaking? Do you mean irritable bowels, or do you mean that
I think
there's
it's
just
leaking?
there's
you're...
like when the water faucet leaks in it, bloop, bloop.
Yeah, I think like your sphincter is loose or something, and shit is liquefied. I don't know. It's
No matter how bad it gets today, man, at least neither one of us have anal leakage.
Anal leakage.
As far as I know. I mean, I don't know about you.
I'm over 40, so sometimes I have pee-pee leakage. But not anal. Pee-pee leakage.
Pee-pee leakage.
I'm sure there's a technical term.
Called pissing yourself.
Or needing a diaper. Is that like a spastic colon? It's just a spastic Peter. Just hold it in.
No, I can't. I have a spastic Peter. Okay.
So we're talking about frickin' Shazam. Just start the show, and then you'll edit shit in. You're not looking forward to editing this. You gotta go get your daughter and come back and edit this shit. And then I gotta come in after and put it on the web. Stupid bullshit. Yeah. You know what I think was getting at us is watching so many terrible movies, and then we have to talk about them, so it's like we're re-experiencing the trauma all over again. And it just makes us start to lose our love for movies.
I haven't lost my love for movies. I have sometimes lost my zest for, hey, it doesn't matter, I'll go see a bad movie. I like being in the movie theater.
Right.
Sometimes I get tired of that. That routine. However, I wasn't expecting Shazam to be bad.
Well, just right off the bat, at the beginning of the show, they could just hit stop right now. They're done. That's how we feel.
No, I'm just saying I wasn't expecting it to be bad. I didn't say it was bad or good.
Oh.
It's bad, but I wasn't expecting it to be bad.
The weirdest thing is, why is everyone showing so much love for it? It really is bad. Like, dialogue, acting, everyone's overacting.
It does make Captain Marvel look like an excellent movie.
Don't go that far.
A decent movie.
Decent, yeah.
Okay, it makes Captain Marvel look like a decent movie. Yeah. And I remember that was kind of the last movie we shat upon.
Yeah, was that the last superhero movie we saw? It's just...
Yeah. Well, they all are just starting to pummel us again.
Yeah. There wasn't a lot of... Is there maybe there's something wrong with us and everyone else is normal and okay?
I think the only thing wrong with me is you.
The only thing wrong with me is me.
Yeah, just all of me. Why not take all of me? There's something wrong with me.
That's a great movie, by the way. Steve Martin.
Oh, I don't think I saw that movie.
That's too... Well, I wouldn't say you have to see all of me. It is good, but you have to see Dirty Rotten Scoundrels.
Yeah, I need to see Dirty Rotten Scoundrels.
Especially before we see the female version.
Yeah.
With Reba? Reba
Rebel.
Wilson?
Rebel? Yeah, not Reba Wilson. So it's got the guy in it from...
You mean the bad guy or
No, the Zachary Levi guy. He's from that movie...
The spy show?
Chuck.
That's not a movie, it's a TV show.
The TV show Chuck, yeah.
Which It was entertaining.
I never watched it
Of course not.
because it was on television.
Yeah.
But the trailers were cut together and made it look like it was going to be funny. And I thought, oh, well, maybe this is what DC needs, is to not take themselves so seriously, because a lot of their movies come out and they just like fade in and it's a dark world. The Batman. And I love Batman, so I'm not picking on Batman at all. However, the recent iterations of Batman have not been great. I still don't think it's Ben Affleck. I think I'd like to see Ben Affleck in a non-Zack Snyder driven realm.
Yeah, are we done with Zack Snyder at DC? I don't want any more.
The thing is, that guy is so visually brilliant. His movies look so cool.
Yeah.
But he just is like, story doesn't matter much to him. Or it just... the decisions he makes outside of cinematography or the look of the movie are sometimes just questionable. They're just like when you see a cool looking movie like, I don't know, like Atomic Blonde, that looks great and is badass, but at the same time, great character choices and story choices and suspense choices and music choices were all like made in unison with the great look and feel of the movie. Mm-hmm. He doesn't really do that. He lands the cinematography, the photography of the movie, or the look every time. Beautiful. The Watchmen was a great movie.
That's great.
I never read the book, so I don't know about that, but I do know that the movie was amazing, and it was visually stunning, but also it must have been that he had source material that he stayed really close to, because it didn't veer off the way some of his other stuff does.
Yeah, the writer was very involved with the making of the film to keep it right with it.
But Shazam, or Shazam as I started calling it, is, first of all, not directed by Zack Snyder. I don't know why we started talking about Zack Snyder, but
it's Batman.
Because of the dark world. So I thought maybe since it's going to be lighthearted and funny, it almost seemed like it was trying to be like a Spider-Man. You know what I mean? Because Spider-Man had that teenage sense of humor. He's a kid who now has superpowers, and like we're going to see what happens. But it didn't have the same life in it that Spider-Man had. Spider-Man felt like a teenager movie that just also happened to be a superhero.
Yeah.
This felt like a thing that was trying to be that, but didn't do it.
I don't know. It had problems from the very beginning.
Yeah, what was it? Like 2 minutes in, I'm like, yep, I don't like it. I started not complaining, but I started like rolling my eyes. It's dialogue and how people are acting. Everybody, again, the terminology we started using for our podcast is the make a face acting. Mm-hmm. Everybody was making a face acting. Everybody was like, I'm excited now, so I'm going to be like this. I'm angry now, so I'm going to frown. It's...
But now with that, they were all acting at the wrong points. Like, anytime there was a big reveal, or like, oh my God, the teen kid I knew is a adult superhero, everyone just went right to the next state. No one was wowed by any of it. None of the kids, even the youngest kid, was just totally quiet, didn't freak out or scream or anything. I mean, he changed right in front of her. And she within seconds, she understood and knew and was keeping it quiet, didn't freak out. And it seemed like everyone in the movie reacted that way. Eventually his whole family finds out, and, well, not his whole family, but just everyone that finds out is just like, oh, we know that's you.
We're doing
now
this
here's
now.
this thing. What?
It's like they found out they were having pizza for dinner. Oh, okay. Yeah.
I usually don't have emotions, but I would freak out if anyone I knew was that. You would geek out and nerd out, and or just scream, or it would just blow your mind. No one acted normal in the movie at all. Not one person. Even the Santa. The Santa was... What was going on with Santa Claus there? He was just... He looked up in the sky, saw a dude flying, and was like, "Oh my God, everybody run!" Nothing happened yet. What is he freaking out for? And then they just kept jumping back to that joke like 2 or 3 times later of him overreacting.
Somebody thought there's a Santa Claus in the movie. It's like a bit part. They just cut to him and there's a Santa Claus there at some point. Yeah. And Santa Claus said something funny. So they thought,
well, no, it was supposed to be funny. It was the opposite humor where he says, "Oh, I hate it when this happens," and then it immediately happens, and that's supposed to be funny.
Right. So he said something that was supposed to be funny, and then they thought, "Oh, that's a funny character. Let's just come back to him randomly for no reason," and it didn't get any funnier. And
even the bad guys were terrible.
The bad guy was just a guy in a trench coat
who never really committed an evil act. Like, the worst thing he did was tell one of the 7 sins that's inside him to kill someone.
Yeah.
And by the way, I don't want to say worst CG ever, but it was so low budget, they didn't bother to make the creatures' mouths move.
Yeah.
They just had everyone, like, telepathic, like, just, like, move their head up and down slowly with the... And you mentally heard what they were saying? I don't know.
Yeah. The animation was also really choppy.
Yeah. Like,
did you see them moving it was almost like stop motion, like they were trying to look like stop motion, but it was just cheap.
It felt to me like, there's a room full of these CG characters, and they were just like, they didn't know what to make each of them do while they're just standing there, which is what they did just about the entire movie.
Yeah.
The things you're supposed to be scared of just stand there and never do anything.
It's... Okay, so the main bad guy of the movie, did he even have a name? I'm sure he had a name, but did he have a name? Dr. Savannah. Is that a Shazam villain?
The only villain I knew of was Black Adam.
Okay, so... This guy, he acquires the bad guy acquires sort of like equivalent powers to Shazam, right?
Sort of.
Through dark forces, right?
That possess him.
Yeah.
But then they possess him, but then he has complete control over him.
Right. No, yes, but at the same time. So he's got sort of, like we said, equivalent powers to Shazam, but spends the whole movie trying to get Shazam's powers from him. You can do the same thing. And by the way, looks like he could do more than Shazam, because it was dark magic. He could do whatever his heart desired. So the motivation to wanting to find Shazam was because way back in the beginning of the movie, there's this wizard who was named Shazam, right?
I guess.
He said,
by the way,
just
worst
say my name.
Old makeup ever. Like, that was the worst wig, beard and hair wig ever.
Yeah, it looked like TV.
Yeah.
TV special effects, visual or makeup.
That was your comment. Like, early on in the movie, you said, "This is a TV show."
This is a TV movie.
Because that's how everyone was acting.
Yeah. And so... somehow this kid, the bad guy kid, he gets pulled into this realm, this not alternate, but parallel realm.
Yeah, this is the first thing you see.
Right, with the wizard. And the wizard asks him a question or says something or whatever and tests him, and he doesn't pass the test, so he kicks him back out of the thing. And so this guy spends the whole rest of his life obsessing over getting back into that room with that wizard to try to get the powers back, to make his case for why he should have the powers, right?
Yeah.
And then when he finds out the Shazam kid, Billy Batson, was selected, he's now worthy of the thing. Now he's motivated to be like, oh, now I'm against this guy because he passed the test that I didn't pass. That's it.
Well, I also heard, I think somebody said, maybe it was a wizard, but that somebody with Shazam powers defeated the 7 deadly sins and helped put them there or encase them or whatever, imprison them. So they wanted to. I heard one of them talking to the bad guy saying, the only one that can stand up to you is the Shazam guy. You should find him and take him out.
Yeah.
So I think that was the second reasoning for going and doing that.
But for what? What was he trying to do that whole movie except just it was Shazam? Shazam wasn't trying to stop him from doing anything. He was just on defensive the whole time.
Yeah, if he had just left him alone, he could have just had fun and done whatever he wanted.
Yeah.
Yep, that's true.
Okay, that's the end of the podcast.
I do want to say, though, as much as we didn't like it, there are some... I'm going to say 2 things. One, the best parts of the movie are when Shazam is doing stuff.
Yeah,
like
he's learning his powers.
Yeah, like when he just learned to fly and then just gets hit by car after car.
Yeah.
That is hilarious.
Yeah, there's like 3 spots. I remember laughing out loud at 3 spots. Every other point in the movie, I'm just sitting there silently or shaking my head. But there are spots that even through all that disappointment and frustration, we still laughed.
Yeah.
So, but I honestly, man, I do not know what it is about this movie that people like so much. We look at the Rotten Tomatoes score. It's 91% or something like that. This movie is bad. It's got terrible dialogue, which makes the acting seem bad. I don't know if I don't really want to say the acting is bad, but they must have been on such a small budget where they were just like, okay, just say that, we're going to move on. You know, that sort of thing. But the dialogue is awful. The scenarios are bad. There's no point to it other than say, oh, hey, in April, we're going to put out the Shazam movie. What's it going to be about? Who cares? It's just a Shazam movie. Put it out.
What it felt like is every scene was, okay, now in this scene, this happens. Now in this scene, this happens.
Yeah, there's no through line.
Because the whole relationship with the kid and his mom, he gets abandoned in a lame way. And the way they shot it and told the story was ridiculous. And
at the other beginning of the movie, he's walking along with his mom at a carnival, and then his mom is holding his hand. He lets go of his mom's hand and walks away
to go grab something.
And it's as if the mom never noticed,
never said a word or said anything, and all years, decades go by, and never tries to get him back. Like, it's understandable immediately at first because police officers and she didn't want to be with police, but a day later, 2 days later, a week, or something. Come on, a month later, find him when he's not. Anyway, that's not what I want to complain about. We do see his mom later, and she just comes out. She opens the door and is like, "Oh, we don't want any papers," or something like that. Yeah, like something no one ever says when they open the door. I don't open the door, see someone standing there, and say, no, I don't want any of your papers.
If I don't want any papers, I don't answer the door.
Exactly. You open the door because you don't know who it is. You're like, what do you want? So that was dumb. Yeah. And then, anyway, there was no emotional... When you're watching a scene, you could tell that she doesn't care, he doesn't care, no one cares. Yeah. You're just acting like you care because you need emotions in the movie, I guess. Yeah. I don't know. It was just bad. Like you said, the dialogue, the writing, it was almost like paint by numbers for a funny superhero movie.
And the visual effects were the CG. You mentioned it earlier. I was like blown away at how bad they looked.
Yeah.
How do you make a movie these days with visual effects that bad?
Also,
it's not budget because Cloverfield had a small budget of $25 million. in the, what was that, mid 2000s, mid
yeah.
2000 whatever, and the visual effects in that movie were great.
Well, Ghostbusters was scarier than this movie. Not that it's supposed to be scary, but the bad guys were not scary, I guess. But by the way, it was a kids movie. I mean, just all the way through. It's just,
it definitely was a kids movie. I mean, you're right. That's their audience, because kids aren't as discerning as we are, or even regular average moviegoers. Kids will like anything, just about. That's not an insult on kids. That just means kids just whatever makes them feel good.
They haven't
like.
learned to hate yet.
They haven't learned to hate. They haven't been jaded by, forcing yourself to watch all these movies for a podcast yet. But again, the Rotten Tomatoes score. We saw Captain Marvel a couple weeks ago, and this movie makes Captain Marvel look like a pretty good movie, like a great, like almost like a great movie. And the Rotten Tomatoes score on Captain Marvel is lower than this.
Yeah, this is the first movie that I could never reconcile the Rotten Tomatoes number with.
Right, because if you're watching a movie and it's in the 50s or the 60s, that means 50% people like it, 50% people don't like it. You go and you think, oh, that was a lot better than 50% on Rotten Tomatoes. Yeah. But a movie that high, like in the 90s, you're thinking Black Panther, Avengers, Infinity War, like you're thinking movies with that kind of thing. And this is or Spider-Man Homecoming.
Right.
This is no Spider-Man Homecoming.
Also, it's just everyone's talking about how DC is, now on track or riding the train or something or whatever, but this is just another bad DC movie to me. You got Wonder Woman and Aquaman. They were good. Everything else from DC is just, I wish didn't exist. I want to say we're crapping on the movie, but the ending, for as much as we didn't enjoy the movie, it was a great ending. You
mean the way things came together in the end with the other people?
Because I was hoping, I knew, and I don't want to give it away.
Yeah, you can't give it away.
Because if I say the thing, I've seen the cartoon where, it was a Justice League cartoon or something, one of the animated movies where that situation existed. Mm-hmm. But. So, sort of, as we were watching, I was like, and, he's with all these kids, maybe. So, anyway, the ending is awesome. It doesn't fix the movie, but it is the most enjoyable part of the entire movie. Because it goes to 11, when, a lot of movies don't. Anyway, the ending had imagination, and it was enjoyable watching that.
Well, it was the best part of the movie for two reasons. One, that it was just the best part, but the other part of it is you knew it was almost over. But they kept stopping the reasonably entertaining action to have all the characters say stupid shit.
Yeah.
And it's like, we're going to stop the action now so that we can throw in a joke that's completely unnecessary and stupid. I mean, if you're going to throw a joke in the middle of you got to land that thing, man, instead of making it just dumb.
I also want to say, okay, there's an adult actor. Let me just generalize. There's an adult actor who was playing as a kid. It's a female. And it was the worst.
It was the worst
acting
part.
I've ever seen. Like, have you ever seen a kid? Because kids don't nod their heads and like that. They don't say a thing and then, are just all giddy.
Yeah.
It was terrible acting. Like, she'd never seen a kid
the
before.
little kid. Yeah, the little kids in the movie.
When she saved Santa.
Yeah, the little kids in the movie were kind of better than the adults that were acting Yeah.
That is true.
Yeah.
In fact, it seemed like the older the actors were, the worse their acting was.
I don't know about that, but yeah.
Because even the
that
sort
sounds
of
like
teen...
something you would say. Yeah, that sounds like something you would say.
Yeah.
I think my favorite part of the movie, favorite character in the movie, was the best friend character. the guy who was on the crutches, who you see in the trailer, he at least had his sort of like, he had a purpose in the movie.
Right.
Everybody else was like, oh, well, we gotta have this, gotta have this, gotta have this. But the best friend had a purpose. He was like, like they're talking Spider-Man, like the chair guy. He's like the chair guy. And he was there for a reason. The villain wasn't really there for a reason. The villain was just like, well, we got to come up with a reason for him not to like Shazam. Okay, this happened 20 years ago. Or 30 years ago or whatever.
All those flashbacks were terrible.
Yeah.
And didn't help the movie at all.
No. But what's coming out? I'm going to show you a picture of it.
I want to see Hellboy, yeah.
Yeah, Hellboy. And guess who...
I guarantee you Hellboy will be better than Captain Marvel. And
guess who's playing Hellboy?
The guy from Stranger
Things, yeah. I didn't know that. You can't really tell from the makeup.
Oh, I could tell by his voice.
He goes strangely familiar for some reason.
Yeah.
But yeah. So his name is David Harbour, and he plays Jim Hopper from Stranger Things.
I think he's doing a good job of holding his own, because I did grow to like the original Hellboy.
Yeah.
Was it Ron Perlman? Is that his name?
Yeah.
He did a great job.
I've never seen either one of those movies. Hellboy 1 or 2. Never seen one. Never seen it.
I have to say, even though it's not the same sarcasm or whatever, it's still... I think he's holding his own as the character, from what I've seen.
Yeah. So that comes out this week. We can go see that.
Yeah, cleanse our palates.
Do you know anything...
Is that DC or Marvel?
I don't know who Hellboy is.
That some other comic? I don't think it's either one.
I don't think it's either one. Yeah, it's probably not. I don't think it's DC, because DC wouldn't put out a movie back to back like that. You can tell that, or at least it seemed very much like Shazam was supposed to come out in Christmas. It's got a Christmas theme, and it seems like they realized it was going to get destroyed in Christmas because it was like, it wasn't very good or something.
They were holding it out closer
so
to
they
summer.
sat on it but they're like, oh well, this isn't good enough to put out in Christmas, but it's definitely not good enough to put out in summer. So now we have to put it out like before the summer stuff happens.
It wouldn't hold up at all. Yeah, that's one thing they did right. They released it at the right time, because apparently it worked. If they released it during the summer with all of those awesome movies, no.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, Hellboy is... what do you know about it? Have you looked it up? This is up your alley.
I don't know about the new one.
You don't know anything about the new one?
I mean, I know the lore from the other movies, but I don't know any comic book lore. I've seen I think there was one Hellboy cartoon.
Is Hellboy a continuation of the Hellboy movies, or is it a reboot?
Well, it's definitely a different story.
Yeah.
It looks like they're, I want to say, a soft reboot. Like they know, from what I could see, it looks like they're not trying to retell the same stories we've already seen, but they are rebooting the character and his personality. So I don't think it's I don't think we have to do a whole origin story thing. I think they're just gonna skip to it and then just get, you know what I mean?
So it's a graphic novel based on graphic novels by Mike Mignola.
Okay.
Hellboy is caught between the worlds of supernatural and human, and battles an ancient sorceress bent on revenge. So that's what they say. I don't know enough about the Hellboy thing to know if this is a continuation or a...
No, they are. I want to say a soft reboot. They're not going to spend the entire movie explaining Hellboy to us, but they are slightly changing.
Yeah.
How he came to Earth and all of that, or what all happened.
Yeah.
Who was, but it's still, they're not gonna. I don't believe they're gonna spend 20 or 30 minutes retelling the character's origin. I think they're just gonna kind of just skip to show you the highlights and just skip to.
Yeah.
I think they're gonna show us what's different from between this Hellboy and the other one, and then get to the story.
Well, I've never seen the other two movies. I had no interest in seeing the other two movies when they came out. For some reason, but this one...
My response to that is Guillermo del Toro.
Of course. That's exactly why I should see them. However, Guillermo del Toro did not direct this one.
No.
I don't know if I've become less snobby over the last decade or whatever when those Hellboy movies came out, or if I'm just more open to seeing all kinds of things. But I'm actually interested in seeing this. The trailer is entertaining. You know what I mean? The trailer is kind of funny.
Yeah.
And it looks cool. I'm hoping it's the right kind of jokey. You know, like this Shazam we just saw was not the right kind of jokey.
No.
Hellboy looks like it might be the right kind of jokey. Plus, I hate to say it like this. Plus, it's a rated R. It's a adult comic book character.
Hellboy.
Yeah. Rated R, science fiction, horror, supernatural stuff, and that is honestly more along my line of stuff that I'm interested in. Not necessarily rated R, not necessarily science fiction or horror, but the darker, the ability to go dark. If you noticed, I love Deadpool.
Yeah,
it's the darker themes that are able to come up even as jokes or whatever, like they do in Deadpool. And honestly, like that. I mean, it sounds dumb to say or like whatever, but just the language, the attitudes of everything. It's not. It's made for me and not for 13-year-old boys. You know.
Yeah.
I like those movies way more than I ever thought that I would 2 or 3, 4 or 5 years ago. When the Avengers stuff started coming out, I hadn't even seen like Captain America, the first Captain America or Thor movies. I had to go back and watch those on video.
Yeah, Captain America movies are some of the best Marvel movies.
I hadn't seen all of the Iron Man movies. Since then, I've
1
caught
and
up.
3.
I've caught up on all of them. I have now seen all of them, but at the time when Avengers came out, I hadn't seen. I went back and watched the ones that had come out prior to that in preparation for it. So I'm just they're not. I don't naturally draw towards those things. I do more naturally draw towards things like, I guess, Hellboy. If we're talking about entertaining type of movies. Darker themed.
Yeah, he plays a choleric, like a grumpy warrior type personality who doesn't care what anyone else thinks.
Yeah.
And he's just sort of helping out because it's convenient or
Why are his horns sawed off?
Because he falls in love with the human girl that's part of the team. I think she's got powers too. I think he just, one, I think it's a symbol of control over him. Mm-hmm. I guess they're the real devil. Like he's supposed to.
The real devil.
Yeah, all I know is that he's supposed to be like the key to doing devil shit. I don't know if it's apocalypse or whatever, but
he's the key to doing devil shit.
And his horns come all the way out. Yeah. He gets like a crown of fire.
Oh, so they grow out.
Yeah.
Oh,
that's how they're supposed to be. They look
like they're sawed off.
He shaves them off because it's like a middle finger to the devil, and the power's trying to make him. He's like, I like Earth. I'm gonna stay. Fuck you and your goals. I'm gonna cut these horns off so I can look more human.
And do they grow back at some point? Do they grow back?
They
over
do.
time?
Yeah.
Okay.
He wants to be human and wants to stay on Earth and have fun. He doesn't want to do any of that shit.
Okay. Well, I'm looking forward to that. I mean, I'm looking forward to it maybe more than I was looking forward to Shazam.
I was never... See, you and I didn't want to see it at first. You and I were thinking, this is going to be bad. It's not going to be good. And then Rotten Tomatoes, and there's a couple of reviews. We hear that it's... I guess it's good.
And the trailer was entertaining. The trailer was funny. The trailer made it look like... The trailer did its job.
It tricked us.
Yeah.
The people, everyone... They tricked us. You and I usually know ahead of time.
Right. I was just about to say I'm normally my bullshit meter is a lot more perceptive than that normally on trailers.
Yes.
But when I feel pretty good about a trailer, and then the Rotten Tomatoes is 90-something%,
You're
I'm thinking,
like guaranteed.
yeah, but it's not. It's not a guarantee anymore because,
Nope.
I mean, I guess this is how Donald Trump gets elected president. Like, there's people out there that just have poor judgments.
Right. So all the people that voted for Donald Trump are the ones that
Like Shazam.
Okay.
Yeah. So that's two things wrong with them. At least. There's a whole list of other things we won't get into.
No.
All right, so this is the alienating political portion of our show. Right before we say, "Hey, we'll see you next week."
How long till the end? When is it Endgame? When's that coming out?
This month it comes out.
Oh, really?
I think, yeah, it comes out like this month, like in 2 weeks, I think.
Okay.
Hellboy. You don't remember? You don't remember how he saws his horns off?
Yeah.
Was he born a demon?
Yeah.
Or was he okay? So he didn't get possessed and
No.
Okay.
He was born to be like the key, I think, to bring Satan's army or whatever to the earth or whatever.
devil shit.
Yeah, devil shit. The reason why one hand is bigger than the others because one hand is a key
Oh,
that he inserts into a thing and turns. But
I didn't even notice that his.
yeah, he's got one really big like rock hand and
Uh-huh.
then another normal sized hand.
April 26th. So it comes out Easter weekend.
Easter.
I think that's Easter weekend. Anyway, April 26th.
Yeah. Well,
That's Avengers Endgame. So we're looking at 1, 2, 3 weeks. It's 3 weeks from now.
yeah.
Yeah, so we'll be there for that. We'll be there for that, and we'll be there for Hellboy this coming week. So
Hopefully we'll have a non-comic book movie
yeah.
before the end game.
Yeah. And yeah, that's it. So if you saw Hellboy and are one of the, I don't know, thousands of people millions of people who saw this movie and
The original Hellboy?
no, not did I say Hellboy?
Yeah.
I'm talking about Shazam. If you saw Shazam and completely disagree with us, which apparently a lot of people do, send us an email, movieisms@gmail.com.
Or message us on Facebook,
Yeah,
Twitter, whatever.
Hit us up on Twitter or Instagram.
Tell us why we're wrong, because we'd love to talk about how we're right and you're wrong. It's awesome.
I'm Becca Meyer on Instagram and Twitter and all those things, and he is...
The balding Ewok still.
Yeah, still.
I could...
When it's all gone, are you just going to change
I was
your name
gonna
to
say.
Bald Ewok?
That's exactly what I was thinking. I guess even to my deathbed, when it's all gone, I'll still be balding. I mean, technically, I'll have hair in my nose and probably on my ass. I don't think that ever goes away. Oh, and the hair in your ears. That's forever. Forever hair.
That's forever. Forever hair. It sounds like a weird piece of jewelry you give your ogre friend. Like it sounds like something Shrek would give to Fiona. Here is my forever hair from my ear. Don't worry, it'll grow back.
Yeah. All right.
Until next time, we'll see you at the movies.
To be continued.
Movieisms is a production of Super Mega Ultra Entertainment and is produced by Michael Beckemeyer and Bradley Kingston. If you'd like to find out more, follow us on Twitter or Instagram. And make sure you click like on our Facebook page, which is facebook.com/movieisms. If you're enjoying this podcast, please take a moment and give us a 5-star review in iTunes. It only takes a minute and it helps us out more than you can imagine. Thank you very much, and until next time, we'll see you at the movies.